Labor Day 2020, the state of Oregon was on fire. As you can see behind me, a lot of acres burned. We are on Oregon 224, which is one of the most iconic motorcycle roads in Oregon, and it has been closed since those fires, and it just recently opened. So we're gonna go check out what the aftermath is. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dewey. Let's go ride. Now, Oregon motorcyclists will absolutely know this road. It is one of the most popular motorcycle roads in and around Portland. Almost everybody in East Portland comes and rides this on nice days. So this road has been closed since Labor Day of 2020, when most of Western Oregon was on fire. It was a factor of combinations that led to such a bad fire season. There were already a few small wildfires, plus the vacation weekend with lots of people out doing stuff and doing stupid things like lighting fires. But we also had a really huge wind event, and the Cascade Mountains saw wind gusts 75 to 100 miles an hour. So you can only imagine what happens to a wildfire when you subject it to 100-mile-an-hour winds. It spreads incredibly fast and uncontrollably. There is no way that any amount of firefighting is going to slow down something with 100-mile winds behind it. And it burns incredibly hot and moves incredibly fast. So that ended up turning the 2020 Oregon fire season into the worst in the Cascade Mountains in history. It wasn't the most acreage that had ever burned in Oregon, but it was by far and away the most acreage that had ever burned within the Cascade Mountain range. And what happened through here is two what they call mega fires combined to make a mega fire complex. And in total, this one combined fire burned over 700,000 acres of forest, including right down through this canyon along this road. And the reason this road has been closed for so long is, as you can see, the walls are very steep and all of the undergrowth is gone, all of the trees are very much burned out, and they had to try to stabilize the hillsides and to make this safe so that downed trees were not falling down on the road while people were trying to drive, and to try to minimize the effect of the landslides that happened, because there's nothing holding all that ground. And you can imagine with the type of rain we get on the western half of the Cascades here in the Pacific Northwest, what would happen to these hills when you have inches of water running down them. So it took them 1.5 years to get this partially open. It's still not open all the way. This road goes for maybe 80 miles to a small town of Detroit, which was sadly burned during the fire. And this is only open to one of the ranger stations, which is about 25 to 30 miles into the road. So we're going to go as far as we can today and just take in the sights, because I haven't been out here and seen this yet. And as you can see, a lot of motorcyclists are taking advantage of it since it hasn't been open for so long. But it is a beautiful ride along the Clackamas River here, and you can imagine what it was like before when all of these trees were lush and green, just how beautiful this was. But there's still people out here using it. People are still kayaking the river, which is nice. That was a big thing, was that the recreational rentals and things like that are a big bit of the economy for some of the small towns right before this starts up. And so they lost all that money for 1.5 years because nobody could come access the river here for recreation. And I should note that, as you can see behind me, I have Mike again. So we are just going to go out and enjoy this road and see what it looks like after the wildfire and the aftermath of that. And just in this first little introduction, you're starting to get to see just some of what happened. But you can really kind of try to think about the scale of this by put into perspective what 700,000 acres looks like. For the people in the western US, we are fairly used to wildfires at this point, so we are used to hearing those kind of totals. If you're from the European continent, 700,000 acres is larger than the entire country of Luxembourg. So it was a very, very significant fire event, and very devastating to lose the ability to access this and have the recreation that we get on this from this road and things that we access from this road. But I've blabbered on for a bit, so I will stop talking for a minute, throw up some scenery, and give you a little bit of riding, because this is a fantastic motorcycle road, as you can see. And it keeps getting better and better. We're not even going to get to the really good part of it on this trip, because the road's going to be closed before the really good section of it. That'll be another trip someday when it's opened up again all the way through. I'll go ride it. But for today, just take in the scenery and enjoy it. As you can see, just burnt forests for mile after mile. You can see all the work they've put in through all these areas to stabilize the lumber and try to keep the road safe. So as you can see behind me, that's the remnants of one of the forest ranger buildings here. All that's left is the chimney and some debris. So that building burned, but interestingly enough, they were able to save that building back there, which is the Rippleworks store. And that was as far as the road went for us. So from here, we've just got to head back the same way we came. Even with all of the destruction, it is still quite a beautiful area and a beautiful ride. It's just sad to see just how much burned, as you can see on the hillside there. You know, it goes all the way to the top, across this valley, and it goes over valleys and valleys and valleys, you know, for miles and miles. So that was Oregon 224 of what's open for it now. and the aftermath of the Labor Day 2020 wildfires. Just one more thing we can chalk down on thanking 2020 for. Burning down and closing this beautiful stretch of road. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand why this is such a popular motorcycle road for all of us Portlanders that we love to go ride. I'm glad that what we do have is open now. Having it open to here is a real bonus. At least we can go that far. I really look forward to when they get the rest of it open, because I actually think apart from there on is even better. I think it's tighter, it's twistier, but I don't know what it's going to look like after all of the damage from these wire fires, and I don't know if they have even an estimated date for getting that part open. But hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making this. And as always, I'm going to throw another video up with some similar scenery, something kind of like it, probably in a slightly different area. But hey, until next time, it's Dewey out.